All right. What is up, Wolfden? Let me just adjust some stuff here. Screen sharing's a little wonky, but that's okay. We're just going to roll with it. Let me know that you're here. Hit the thumbs up. Drop a chat. Let me open the chat here. Drop in the chat so that I can see that you are here or present. I'm going to run over the base case, okay? So if you're here live, great. We got some cool stuff we're doing later today, testing out some NFWs, non-fungible wolves. But I'm going to share the base case with you. Okay, it looks like this. Let me hit this different view here. All right, here is the base case. It's really important that you understand that this is kind of the fundamental assumptions that we're working off of. And in order to be effective, we have to work off of a fundamental set of assumptions. And as evidence comes up, as new evidence presents itself, what we do is we adjust our, let me see if I can make this a better view for you. There we go. Hopefully that works better for you. As evidence comes up, we need to adjust our assumptions. We need to have like a Bayesian updating where we say, hey, our assumption was off and why, and how do we adjust? And then from that single fundamental, like first principle, we can adjust the rest of our strategy, right? So we always have a solvable problem. Here is our base case. Here's my base case. I won't even speak for everybody else. First of all, none of this is financial advice. I'm sharing what I'm doing to accelerate my wealth, how I'm thinking about it. My friends, my partners, we have some of the best in the world. We're very, very fortunate. Billions and billions of dollars of research that I can bounce ideas off of. So just understand that this is all my opinion. It is not financial advice. Do not listen to me without thinking for yourself. You can listen and interpret and test my assumptions, but do not think for yourself. Do not abdicate responsibility to somebody on YouTube or Discord or Telegram. Do not abdicate responsibility for yourself. Okay, here's the base case. For the next 12 years, my opinion and everything that I have seen up to this point, there's a lot of speculation and it could always change. Crypto offers 70% a year on a very conservative basis. I'm actually aiming for 200%, okay? My personal goal. And that is not complicated. I do not have to take a lot of risk to do that. I actually mitigate my risk. It's all I do. But 70% is very, very conservative. Crypto's like the internet, right? Internet 3.0. 70% a year. Very conservative. Most people are not going to get that. Most people are going to lose money because they're going to panic sell, they're going to chase pumps, and they don't understand the ecosystem or the infrastructure of what they're investing in. But if you understand the ecosystem and the infrastructure, 70% a year, very, very, very conservative. You may get some years, like this year on Bitcoin, for example. I'll probably get, we'll see how it shakes out. It'll be over 700% in a year. So over the next 12 years, on average, 70%, very, very conservative. That's my base case. For dire wolves, for people at the highest level of our membership, I'm happy to break that all down and have conversations with you. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. So if you are skeptical, that's fine. Do your own math. Please develop your own opinions. Use calculators. Whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm only going to share my base case. Okay? If you want to argue with me, that's fine. I probably won't respond. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just providing my thought process and the tools that I use to help reason through this stuff and close the gap between where I'm at and where I want to be. Right? Which brings us to the 3 C's. This is fundamental to our base case. Clarity, certainty, collapsing time, in that order. You cannot collapse time. You cannot get from point A to point B faster if you don't know the route to get there. Okay? That's certainty. The most efficient path is certainty. Everybody is rushing. They're trying to collapse time, but they don't have the directions. Think about that. Okay? So certainty must precede collapsing time. How do you get directions? How do you know you have the most efficient path forward? If you use Google Maps, you enter your starting location and your desired location. You cannot have certainty about the most efficient path forward without clarity. Where are you now and where do you want to be? More is not the answer. More is the equivalent. Back to the Google Map example. More is the equivalent of saying, I want to drive faster. Driving faster does not get you to where you want to be. There are about 1 billion places you could end up faster than where you want to be. Okay? So everybody's trying to drive faster without directions or clarity on where they're at, where they want to be, so they can't get directions. So our base case, again, is get you to where you want to be, F you money, everything you want in life, by getting clarity first, certainty second, collapsing time third. Only after you have clarity can where you're at, where you want to be, can you get the most efficient path forward. As time goes on, you might find more efficient paths forward, right? Google Maps, sometimes a fallen tree blocks your route and you have to reroute. That's okay. Okay. We just want to make sure we are always on the most efficient path to where we want to be. Once we know we're on the most efficient path to where we want to be, we could choose to collapse time. We could drive a little bit faster, right? Now, driving a little bit faster means taking on a little more risk, and that's okay too. We just have to know our risk tolerance. But we can only collapse time effectively after we have certainty. We can only have certainty after we have clarity. You cannot skip these steps. A bunch of you have tried. People that get wrecked in crypto, they're chasing green candles. I'm going to make more money faster. More is a problem because you don't know when to sell. You don't know when to take your moonshot gains and roll them into a high yield savings account because you haven't done the math. You just need more and more and more and more and more. And the only way to find out how much you can possibly acquire is to lose it all. Right? If I say I want to run as fast as I can, as far as I can, with no destination, the only way I can find that point is to run until I keel over and die. That's what most of you are doing in crypto. You're just going more and more and more and more and more. The only way to find the wall is to run into it. And when you run into the wall in cryptocurrency, decentralized world, you lose your ass and you start all over. And you don't have a world with your priorities funded. You have a world with nothing funded. Okay? Again, this is our base case. You do not have to agree with me. Perfectly fine with that. Hey, so clarity. Clarity, this is actually what people in the real world pay me the most for. 6, 7, even 8 figures, is to discern the most efficient path forward. And that's because they have very, very complicated systems and businesses and stuff like that. But for you personally, for our personal lives, it's not that complicated. We just use the certainty methodology, and I'm going to show you what that is. Okay? It's identifying what are your priorities? What are the things that actually matter to you? And I just made these up real quick for this. Let's say, all right, well, I need to have an emergency fund of $45,000. This would not be enough for an emergency fund, but right? And I need it by this date. Right? Full-time nap life. Call this retirement, right? Full-time nap life. $50 million. And I want it by, that's my birthday. I just set this. This is my birthday, December 28th, 2029. Right, so an extra $50 million by 2029. And I want to buy 1 million husky puppies. I want to do that by this date. Now we have a solvable problem. This is called clarity. We go back to our dashboard. And now we see we need $680,000 in 9 years, because that's my furthest out priority right here. It's actually 8 years. Now we have a problem we can solve for. We know how much we need and when. We know when to sell. We know when we need to take more risk. We know, hell, if 20% is going to get us there, we don't have to take moonshots because we have clarity to discern the most efficient path forward. And then we go to our financial accounts, and this is really cool. Remember our base case. Okay? You have your connected bank accounts, your custom bank accounts, and you got crypto in here, so you can drop in whatever crypto. But look at this. You have your custom bank account, say Binance Chain Farm 1, and once a month you can just update this. And if we have a base case of 70%, watch this. Let's say I had a 9 there. So since we have a base case, we can actually figure out if we're on track. So let's say we have 2 farms in our Binance Smart Chain system. Okay. One has this much, one has this much, and we're saying 70% is our base case. We get way more than that, but conservatively, that's a safe, right? We can go back to our dashboard. Look at that. Every time we compound it, we will see ourselves get closer and closer and closer until we're on track. Okay? Now, what you can do is you can go back here. Watch this. This is pretty cool. Let's say I don't have this. Let's say this doesn't exist. Okay, so I'm just starting and I got $30,000 in my. Now look, I have my fiat in here too. You got some fiat cash in there, which I just connected some of my my personal bank accounts. And we want to close the gap with crypto. We don't want to make a ton more fiat because it requires a bunch of work and stuff. So we just want to do this with crypto. We can enter what we have. We can go back to our dashboard and we can say, all right, I need $709,000 in 9 years to get. If I have $709,000 in 9 years, I get everything I want out of life. Now, you can always go in and change these, and this will all adjust, right? $709,000 in 9 years, assuming our base case 70%. This is what we need to make extra per month. $91. $91 to get everything that you want extra. That's not so intimidating, is it? Why is that possible? Because a U.S. bank is going to give you 0.01%, right? So you do, if you're thinking, man, I need $6,000, $7,000 extra a month to ever get what I want, that's super intimidating. Our base case, using our farm, right? $91 a month. That seems like a solvable problem, doesn't it? Hopefully. All right, so this is the Certainty app. A lot of features coming, but that's kind of and you can do this in a spreadsheet if you want. Use it in a spreadsheet. But look how non-intimidating that is. When you actually get your cash, your fiat, and your crypto working together instead of being a ding-dong and picking a side, use all the tools available to you, right? You only need, and here's what you can do. I would say maybe once a month, you just update your farm. So, well, now it's 31. And we just maintain this base case because that's super, super conservative and it rather underestimate, right? And go back to our dashboard. And look at that. We close the gap a little bit. Now we only need $6.99. We need $1 less a month, right? We just collapse this down to 0, and you have all of the things that you want. You don't have to chase more, lose all this sleep and whatever everybody else is doing, okay? So that's the clarity piece. This helps you figure out, is this really that complicated? It's not. I need $90 a month to get everything I want, to be my definition of wealthy. It's ridiculous. And everybody's losing their ass taking bets they don't need to take because they never got clarity. So certainty, that's in our Wolfden membership, right? This is why we're not pushing it hard. Guardian is going to be probably the coin of all coins outside of Wolfies, but Wolfies is not a certainty play. It's a collapsing time play. Okay, so using Guardian, Wolfden membership in all of our non-premium tiers, we are going to keep you up to date on the farms, the pools, and the interests, and the non-fungible wolves. Non-fungible wolves will help create more certainty, right? Which is this compounding, ongoing, this right here. Just monthly contribution, checking off the boxes to get you what you want out of life. The more guard you have, we will fight tooth and nail to make sure that you always have over 70% a year opportunity just by holding guard. Why? So you don't have to buy and sell and guess, right? We don't want chasing. Chasing is not the game. It can be if you want it to be. It's not my game. Okay? So with farms, pools, and interests. So if we go back, clarity first, certainty second. Once you have your farms and your pools generating this amount in a timeline that is appropriate, which you can check right here how much you need to contribute every month. It's not that much. It's like 0.2 BNB right now, 0.3 BNB, right? A month. Once we have this, and there's non-fungible wolves that'll help hedge and create more certainty. Right? There's also non-fungible wolves that'll collapse time. They're not all the same. Stop thinking. I recommend you stop thinking like, ooh, NFTs. You buy them and then you sell them. Like, that's one way to do it. Just like a coin. You're making life way harder than it needs to be, and you'll see soon. Right? And then collapsing time. So this is what we do with our guardian, our dire wolves. Once we have this locked in, our base case locked in, so that we get everything we want out of life, and what you change might want, or what you want might change, and you just update your inputs, right? It's a variable equation. You just change the variables and you solve for it. And then you collapse the time. How do you collapse time? You lock in your 90 a month you need, if this is your goal, if this is your timelines and goals, okay? Above that, you just compound it. So if you compound it, you start collapsing this time. You can also chip some off, right? Profit, and put it in a pre-sale. In Guardian Direwolf, we vet pre-sales, we play them together, we help people time their entries and exits and stuff like that. You take moonshots. Okay, the best moonshots are typically on Ethereum, but there's a lot on Binance. This is where you pick a coin and you pray. But it's okay because it was free money, right? You can get in and get out. I went in with $400 and walked away with 27 grand in a matter of hours. That's not common, but that's the kind of stuff you only do, in my opinion, when you have your passive stuff locked in, right? That's why we built our membership like we did, so you can play this stuff. And then there are absolutely non-fungible wolves that will collapse time, meaning they might be risky. You might spend a large amount on it and then turn around and hope to sell it for more. Or there might be 10 that you buy, everybody buys one, and one person gets a huge windfall, which collapses time for them because they can put it back into their farm here, or they can just put it in their bank account, and by putting it in one of your bank accounts, right, in fiat or whatever, it collapses the amount of time you need, the amount of your shortage. It cuts down the shortage. All right. So that is our base case. I hope that makes sense. It starts, let me go back real quick. Clarity, certainty, collapsing time. If you can get clear on what you want, and you can see this gap right here. In this example, my financial certainty index is very poor, right? You go to your financial accounts once a week, once a month. You go to custom bank accounts, you go BSC farm. Let's see, let's say you added $400. So that puts it there. Save $400 that week. You're going to start seeing this number get smaller and smaller. And you can double check here and go, yep, I'm still on track. I'm better than on track. I needed $90 a month. I added 400 this week. Right? And over time, this certainty index improves. This time gets collapsed. You get everything you want. And on top of it, if you want to come in to do your own research or come into Guardian and Direwolf and play the moonshots, it's great. You put in 300, you walk away with $5,000. Up that $5,000 will show up in your account. This pulls automatically. Crypto you have to enter manually, right? And you just see these numbers creep down as you get closer to what you want. It is not complicated. It can prevent you from doing dumb shit you don't need to do. It can tell you when you need to do something. It's very possible that you look at this and say, my life is unacceptable. Like, it is not acceptable for me to not have this by this time. And if the shortage is huge, you might have to take more risk. Okay? But most people are taking risks they don't need to take. So that is our base case. I will explain it all inside of the Wolfden and over time. If you need all the answers now, just wait. Just wait. Okay? Don't make a bunch of moves. Look, the difference between having it in 9 years and 8 years, $177. So you got to wait a year until you understand it all. That's fine. It's still achievable. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that's helpful. I will break it all down. That is what the Wolfden exists for. That is our base case. That is what we're operating off of. That is why I don't care if your APY or APR on your farm or whatever went from 450 down to 200. You didn't lose any money. You are so far ahead of the base case that if you stop chasing APY and APR and this coin and that coin, you're going to get everything you want out of life. And nobody else will, because everybody else is giving into their human impulse to go faster, to chase numbers they don't understand. Okay? You can lock in the life that you want. You don't have to. If you want to be a total degen, that's fine. I hope you take the time to do the math and understand what it is that you're doing, but your prerogative. Like I said, you don't have to adopt my base case. I'm sharing my base case with you. When you go, I don't get it. I could get 500% over here, and your recommendation only gives me 82%. Like, yeah, well, our recommendation is reliable, and there's a strategy. If you're going to go chase APRs and APYs, and you have not yet locked in the life that you want, you're on fragile ground, and you should not be in the Wolfden, because I do not want me or our team to be responsible for the outcome. If you hit a home run and you make billions of dollars by picking the right coin, great. I still don't want to be responsible for it. I don't want any credit for your wins if you're being an idiot, and I don't want us to take any of the blame or responsibility for your losses if you're not being strategic about your moves. Okay? Hope that's useful. We got some games to play today with our members. That'll be in about 45 minutes in the Telegram. We're going to give away a lot of valuable stuff.